All right, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, this is so weird because it definitely. Oh, I'm talking to the wrong. I forgot that I moved the camera over here for because this is a whole new setup. So, hello everyone and welcome to the maiden voyage of Liberty Doll uses OBS. It's really weird talking in this direction now, but what's really nice is that I have the chat right in front of me and I can see like not ahead of time, but it stays up the super chats and all of this. So this is really exciting. Um, there's some crap all around me and on the floor behind me. Now, hopefully, everyone, let me know if the microphone sounds okay because I mean, we have new lighting, we have new microphone, we have new IBS, we have. Look at this, you guys. This is the coolest thing ever. This is called a Stream Deck. And it's like a special keyboard that I push buttons and I can like mute my mic or change what this does or what something over here does. And I should be able to use it for video editing too. And I can turn my mic on and off, and I should be able to even get it now when I show you guys a desktop video of like Twitter or something. There's a button for that so you guys get that audio and I don't have to move the microphone around and all of that fun stuff. So this is really great. So okay, I'm gonna do the super chats first because you guys were testing it. Now this is not going to. It's so weird having this in two places, by the way, man. There is no. I'm seeing there is no drop down on the face cam for the super chats and things like that. I saw that it worked on the starting soon screen. It's not working on the face cam. I don't know if it'll work on the share screen. We'll see. We'll see if that works. This format, as far as what it looks like, the design and everything, is not the final form. I did not like any of the themes that are on OBS at all, so I'm gonna be editing the crap out of it and making my own. It's gonna take a while. So we did that with the starting soon page. I'll still have to do that with all the other stuff because I don't really like the way some of it looks. It's not very Liberty Doll channel. But we also have a tip jar now that brings you to a special page, and I'm so proud of myself because it should be, I should, if someone does that, I should also get a message as if it was a super chat that I should be able to read, unless you tell me not to. And I'm excited because I pre-filled out like it's all ammo calibers that you can choose from, or you can input your own, but it's all ammo calibers. And with that, with the tip page, it goes through Streamlabs and does not take any percentage, unlike YouTube. Liberty Doggo is actually right behind me on the floor, asks Blocks for Kids. All right, I'm gonna scroll up. I'm gonna grab these super chats, and then I'll keep talking to you about all the cool changes, and then we'll get into some stories and make sure that all of this works properly. So I saw that there was a couple that came in beforehand. Q asked, does the super chat counter work? It apparently only does on the starting soon page. That is something that I'll have to fix. You know what? I will make a list. I don't have anything to write on or write with. I will not make a list. Let's see. We have Jesse Meek says, let's see if the super chat tally keeper is working. You know what? Let's see. I'm gonna switch back to the starting soon page, and we'll see if it's updated. Let's see. All right. So, I don't think there's a counter. There's the stuff coming. Thank you, Anonymous says, steel kami ammo is best ammo. Oh my god, this is so cool, you guys. I'm really excited about this. Okay. I see John Thomas randomly way in the beginning had song lyrics. All right, so we're gonna do Trashman's intro. I don't know. I don't think there's a way for me to put this on screen yet. Trashman says, live from the new command central, it's the lady with more computing power than NASA. A security setup the NSA just can't crack, and poor Joe Biden still just wonders where his ice cream is. And with that, here's Dolly. That's a good one. I have a 3-monitor setup. I have a webcam here. I have a webcam there. That's not hooked up. My speakers are all done. I've got a tablet here for when I edit my thumbnails. I've got the Stream Deck I showed you guys. I have my regular video mic right above me, which is hopefully why it sounds better. Let's see. I've got new lighting above me that I thought was broken. So all of that is really exciting. I've got a lamp over here. I've got this corner desk that... Ready? Oh! It's a sit-stand desk, which is super exciting. Anyways, all of this has been set up for only 24 hours. So that's why that's why there are some things that are clunky. Let's see. Steve Pat says, we'll have to watch later. Hope you and Liberty Bun are doing well. Enjoyed your videos. Also, does your husband still sell Pokemon cards? Where can I find him online to buy? He does. He does still sell Pokemon cards. He doesn't have a store link. You have to find him on TCG Player or eBay. I believe his name on both of those are Cardboard Crack Shack. With a K. It might also be 508. It might also be under 508 collectibles. I'm not entirely sure, but I will let you know. All right. Love is a 1911 says the highlight of the weekend, Liberty Doll, aka Liberty Mom. Thank you. Let's see. Wow, this is awesome that I can scroll back and see all of these. Dinoside13 says, made it, happy Friday. And then Glockstar for Kids asking, where's Liberty Jago? He is on the floor behind me. And we have Gardner is in. By the way, Gardner, when I was getting ready, I watched your video about the federal red flag laws that they're sneaking into the legislation. And I just have to say, you have like the perfect broadcasting voice. It was just so like gripping on and like edge of my seat. So Garner says, this is epic LD, what a start, and I love the idea that you can call up items with the push of a button. Let's make one of those for freedom. Rock on. I wish that was an option. I wish that pressing a button for freedom was an option. Let's see. Yep, so Garrett Booth tipped 556, says test, and A Cyclone Steve tipped 223 or 223, says, how pregnant are you now? Can we virtually feel your belly moving? No, you cannot. 30 weeks tomorrow. So some of the anxiety is starting to set in, especially as like the fake shower is in 2 weeks and only one person has bought something so far. So that's a little worrisome. Freaking out a little bit that I'm gonna have to get everything. I know that there are some folks that have asked for the baby registry. So if folks are serious and they want that, I will share that at some point. I just need to change the address on it so that you all don't have my home address. So other changes that are hopefully on the horizon here. I say hopefully because I don't want this to be one of those things that I say that I'm going to do or try to do and then something happens and it doesn't work out. But, so all of this was set up by my amazing tech guru friend, Zach. He may or may not show up randomly in the middle of this. They're out disc golfing right now. So right now, the plan is I saw some folks that were asking before the live about channel memberships and saying, well, why, oh, you know, this channel is so old, how come she hasn't done channel memberships? So, in theory, the plan going forward, and normally I would announce this just via Patreon and Subscribestar, but oh, John Thomas, the tip page is right in the description, and it goes through PayPal. So the only thing that gets taken out is PayPal fees, I believe, instead of the 30% that YouTube takes. But I still get a message about it with the message, and so I still will be able to read it on air. And eventually there should be a drop down as well. That's not a thing yet. This is fabulous being able to see the chat right there. This is beautiful. So eventual plan. Couple different things. One is people have been asking about channel memberships, and I never did that because it's kind of hard enough for me to keep up with the Patreon and Subscribestar and all of the stuff that requires. Plus, I'm really bad at updating all of that stuff on a third place on the website, because my website, those pages for some reason are really clunky and difficult to edit. And I know that this is something that has been going on for a while. There has been a lot of folks who have asked for ways to keep in contact with each other and keep the community going outside of YouTube and Facebook. I'm also bad about checking the Facebook group, and I realize that and I admit that. So one of the things that when I first had Patreon is we had a Discord. And I didn't know how to properly use it. I didn't understand how powerful it was. But my friend Zach tells me, and this was his idea, and I really like it. So the plan would be, going forward, is I want to give everyone all the different options they can have. So whether you are subscribed on the website, whether you do a channel membership through YouTube, whether you're doing Patreon, or whether you're doing Subscribestar, all of that would gain you access to the Discord. There might even be a public section of the Discord. I'm not sure yet, because I don't know. I'm a little bit worried about trolls. And like hate raids, that's apparently a thing. I guess it only happens, it really only gets you on Twitch, but like, if it's open to everybody, then potentially people could come in and say nasty crap on purpose to try to get me shut down. But the idea would be that at the very least, whether you're doing it through YouTube, Patreon, the website, Subscribestar, whatever, maybe even there'll be a monthly PayPal option. I don't know, but it would gain you access to the Discord, and like everybody will have access to like the first level. And then say if you are at the $5 level, then I'll be able to go in there and post in one place, the preview videos. And all of those people in like the $5 level would have access to $5 level and $1 level, where you can do video chats with each other, you can do audio chats with each other, you can do text chats with each other, post memes, post videos, post links, and you're not going to get any kind of crazy strike from YouTube or Facebook, which I got from my Project Veritas live stream, by the way, without having to worry about any of that. And plus, right, what I can do, you know, I used to say, so on my Patreon there is a level where it would be like a monthly hangout, right? No one ever wanted to do the monthly hangout. Ooh, I wonder. Forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. We'll see if that got picked up. Hopefully it did not. I learned what a noise gate is today, you guys. So the plan would be, you know, I'm pretty sure, I know that January and February I'm not going to be able to do live streams. My hope is to write some videos ahead of time. I've got a whiteboard behind me with all my to-do lists, including some videos to do ahead of time. So I'm hoping to release some videos ahead of time. I know I'm not going to be able to live stream with a baby hanging off my boob, and I will probably be like, and half asleep. But I can do voice chats on there with you guys, so I'll still be able to communicate with you guys, keep up with you guys, and all of that stuff. So, and Discord is really easy, I guess. You can download it on your computer as a desktop app or on the mobile device. And there is a way for you to just like, as long as, like, so say if you're doing Patreon, as long as you put in like your YouTube info or whatever it is, then it just syncs you in automatically. There is a way to do all of that, so it would streamline everything for me, make everything automatic, and be way easier to keep up with everything that I try to do for the folks that do all that. I mean, I would still be posting to Patreon, Patreon and Subscribestar, but Discord, I think the Discord could be good, and like, you know, there can be like meme rooms and blah 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 and all of that. So that is the plan. I'm seeing, this is so great that I can see in the chat. Yes, John Morgan is saying the dude from the New Hampshire Free State Project was on Tim Pool the other day and didn't realize he was involved with Library and Odyssey. Yes, Jeremy Kaufman, I judged the Porkfest Idol. Forget what the full name is for it is. I judged that with him and Tom Woods when I spoke at Porkfest. That last year already? Oh my goodness, it was. He's really cool. I enjoyed him, and I was really surprised. I saw that he was on Tim Pool, and that was great. All right, so I saw some more super chats and different things came in, and this is amazing, actually, that it's odd because it comes up in 2 places. But I like that because I definitely can't lose it. So we'll do that. Oh, excuse me. And then we'll get into some news stories. The news stories that I have for you guys, well, I'll get to that in a second. I have used up all my focusing spoons for the day. And yes, I was up until 2 a.m. working on this stuff. So let's see. This is great that I can see all the way up there. D99 Ted says, LD, do you have a crypto wallet address people can donate to? Lest, like Time Pool, the time this goes through, it will be worth 15% less. Yes, so down in the description, I might rearrange the way I have some of that too. I think it's under the support little section. Hopefully you guys don't hear my typing. I have to figure out, yes, so if you go in the description, it'll have the tip jar and the merch, and then the next thing down is support. Right there is the Patreon Subscribestar, another link to PayPal, and then there's Bitcoin and Litecoin addresses there. And I use Minomi, I think it is. Let's see. Jesse Sowell, thank you. And I can see the stickers right on this chat, which is great because I could not see that with StreamYard. Oh yes, that is the other thing. I do apologize to the folks who watch typically on Facebook and interact with Facebook. So this program, OBS, does work with StreamYard, which is what I used to go across platforms, but it won't import all of the different screens. It'll only do the camera or something, which is bizarre. But there is another program called Restream that will stream to up to 30 places at once. I don't have that many places to stream to, but it will go to Facebook. I didn't want to mess with all of that and with the risk of this not working at all tonight if I messed with it. So that is something that I will be working on in the next week. And it will allow you guys, I believe, to talk cross-platform in the same chat. I think. I'm not 100%, but I think it would make it so that the folks that are watching on YouTube would be able to interact also with the folks that are watching on Facebook, and I'll be able to see Facebook comments like I could at the other stuff. I think. Not 100%, but that is what I think. Acyclone C says, yes, don't forget the Liberty Doll MeWe group. Yes, that is a thing that exists. Tim Allen, I see, posted it in the chat as well. So that is for you guys as well. Leonidas Alberia says, hope this makes you smile. Right now, my little girl cat, Tigra, is being a little monkey by climbing up on my chair and flipping off of it. That is pretty funny, actually. Let's see. People are saying that Discord is it's a chat room. I mean, it is kind of a chat room, but also it works like a Facebook group as well, where I can post things as like announcements and stuff like that. Esteban Laura had a hate raid, on your book club. Wow. So I guess hate raids, I just learned about this yesterday. It's more frequent on Twitch, but it can happen on YouTube as well. So on YouTube, I am held responsible for all the comments in the chat. So that's why we have Nightbot. I haven't seen anything pop up for it, but hopefully that's because there hasn't been a need. So what that is, I have a bot to prevent YouTube from flagging certain things. So you can't call me the C word. You can't come on randomly and be like, oh, Liberty Doll is a dumb C word, because YouTube doesn't like that word. And if you use it too much, then I get a community strike, or I get my live stream shut down, or I get it where it doesn't allow people to live chat. Twitch, I guess, has a similar thing, but you're responsible for the chat even when you're not live broadcasting, because I guess the chat always exists on Twitch. And so what people will do, they'll organize raids where they just have a bunch of people going in to these chats on like Twitch and stuff like that, and purposefully saying racy things and then reporting it to get that channel shut down. That's what a hate raid is. So there actually has been similar things on YouTube channels that have gotten community strikes and stuff for similar things. So that is something that happens here as well. No, not C as in counter. Trashman says pastry on, a little Freudian slip. I am quite hungry, actually, so maybe. Love is a 1911 says, we understand that being a Liberty mom comes first. Thank you. Okay, so I'm a cookie. Who's a cookie? Oh. C is not for competent. It's not for cheesy. It's not for Contessa. The C word is not cute. You guys know what C word I'm talking about. All right, so I have some news stories for you guys now that we've gone over all the announcements and the news and all of that. Some of it actually pertains to YouTube. Now, because for the last 24 hours I have been doing all this and working on this stuff, some of these stories I haven't read. So bear that in mind. Some of them I knew ahead of time that I kind of wanted to talk about. Some of them, right before I came on, I checked like the main headlines and I was like, oh damn, this is some crazy stuff. So hopefully when I look over here to read stuff, the mic will still sound good. If not, you guys let me know. Yeah, we'll see. So ready? Check this out. Share screen button. Oh, see, the counter and everything is on here. Well, the recent tip is on it. Oh, that's interesting. It doesn't have a recent super chat. All right. And eventually I'm gonna have like cause like I don't like that you can see all this. Oh, look at that. K-Bold 41. Look how quick that was. Says, are you staying hydrated? Thanks for hanging in there. Take care. Hydration, thank you. Cool. So we have that. That works. That's really cool. I don't know if you guys heard the little ding or if that was only on my end. But yeah, I don't like the way that overlay, it's not very me. I don't like that you can see the taskbar, so I'm gonna, my job over the next week is to create something in Photoshop that I like. But anyways. Alright, so let me make sure the mic's on. Yes, it is. So check this out. So this, what's really funny about this here is when I logged into Facebook today to post that, well, first of all, I told you guys that I got the strike earlier this week because, and the funny thing is, it wasn't even because of the live stream per se, which really surprised me. It was because I posted the Project Veritas video in the comments, and that got me a warning, and I was told that if it happens again, my account is going to be restricted. But today when I went on Facebook to make the post and be like, hey guys, you know, here is the link for today, because I can't go directly to Facebook yet. Ooh, the stream's current bitrate is higher than the recommended bitrate. Okay, what happens if I get rid of the preview? We'll see. We'll see if that changes the... Oh, I haven't seen this before. Telling me that the current bitrate is higher than the recommended bitrate. By a lot. What's the video quality for you guys? Let me know, because another thing, I didn't even realize that, StreamYard has only been streaming in 720p as well, and not full 1080. That's like an extra, like $20 a month to get 1080. I did not realize that. So let's see. Oh, okay, now it says that the streams... See, this is weird. I'm getting this thing that says the bit rate is higher than the recommended rate by like 6,000, whatever the hell these things are. But the stream status also says excellent. Okay, you guys are saying that you guys are getting 1080 and that it looks good and it sounds good. All right. Interesting. And you have options up to 720. Okay. Oh, David Neal is getting 360. Okay. So I believe I was told, I believe Zach said that what that means is that, wow, there's 300 of you guys here just for me to be like, herpty-dirt technology. That's great. John Davis says good quality, no lag, crisp sound, all good. Okay. All right. Okay. So I believe if the bitrate is messed up or whatever, I believe Zach had said that what that means is that if you have a slower internet connection, then it will affect video quality. I believe that's what he said. So, and I just realized, I saw someone say hi to Ting Ting, and I just realized that I never did my hellos to everyone, but Q says we need 4K. I don't have... Another thing apparently is there is a way for me to hook up my regular video camera there and use that instead of this webcam, but I don't know about all that yet. This is good enough for now. All right, so y'all are saying it still looks pretty good, so we're gonna stick with that. I'm in at 480 to live stream that's not zooming in on anything that would require HD pictures, says Crockpot Broccoli. Okay. All right, so we're just gonna stick with it and see what happens. Okay. So chat rate, yeah, okay. I don't really know what the dealio is with that. I'm getting 1080p at 360p, says Leonidas Elberia. You guys are funny. Okay, so anyways, so check this out. Um, I told you how I got the strike, right? Or the warning about the strike from Facebook. And today, when I went to post the link to today's video for YouTube, since I can't get directly to Facebook right now, I got another little message right on my Facebook like dashboard thing that was like, well, this page posts a lot about vaccines. Make sure to visit the CDC for accurate information. And meanwhile, I should actually probably look and see if the live stream where I talked about Project Veritas is still up, because we have this. Now, oh, did you just hear the dog making noise? Let me know if you heard the dog making noise, because I wasn't looking to see if it picked up that audio level, and I'm trying to find the right noise gate for that. This is something that I had heard whisper of on YouTube recently, but I hadn't seen any headlines about it yet. So this is a brand new story out of Breitbart here. YouTube shuts down all anti-vaccine content. As Susan Wojcicki fancies herself a baller. Google-owned video platform YouTube has announced will blacklist all critical commentary and news on coronavirus vaccines, a decision that will likely affect many high-profile figures using the platform. So this is interesting. I had heard that it would be critical commentary and that they said it was a way to battle misinformation, but all news on COVID vaccines. That's really interesting. So I wonder if they're actually going to be deleting past content or putting strikes on that. And yes, everybody heard the dog. So, okay. Grimm says that they flagged Michael Knowles for quoting the CDC. That is pretty nuts. I mean, that's going to affect a lot of my content then going forward. Like, I mean, there's so much about the COVID vaccines and stuff in the news. Even, oh, where is it? I mean, there's even, like, Merck is making a COVID-19 pill. So, is this going to be something now that you're not allowed to talk about on YouTube? I mean, I guess we'll have to read the rest of the story here to see. So, via Reuters, YouTube will block all anti-vaccine content, moving beyond its ban on false information about the COVID vaccines to include content that contains misinformation about other approved vaccines, it said on a blog post on Wednesday. Examples of content that won't be allowed on YouTube includes claims that the flu vaccine causes infertility. I've never even heard that. And that the MMR shot, which protects against measles, mumps, and rubella, can cause autism according to YouTube's policies. And that's interesting. As an aside, I do know that the main study that folks use to try to say that the vaccine, the MMR vax causes autism, I guess that study has been debunked. I've never seen it either way. I've never read it, but I guess another reason why people make that correlation is because the most frequent time that autism, like if your child has autism, they were born with autism, but the symptoms don't start to manifest typically until around the time that you would be getting like your 2-year-old vaccines. And so that's another thing. But am I going to be allowed to say this? It's an interesting question. The online video company owned by Alphabet Inc. is also banning channels associated with several prominent anti-vaccine activists, including Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Wow, and Dr. Mercola. They're really kicking a Kennedy off of YouTube. That is pretty nuts. In a statement, Kennedy said there is no instance in history when censorship and secrecy have advanced either democracy or public health, which is pretty accurate. The Google-owned platform made its decision a little over a week after, of course, Project Veritas released a video interview of a federal whistleblower who alleged that cases of adverse reactions to vaccines were being shoved under the mat. This was followed by undercover footage of an FDA official arguing the government should go door to door and stab unwilling Americans with the COVID vaccine. If anyone has not seen the newest video to come out of Project Veritas, this one is a doozy. In the most recent video, it showed a Johnson & Johnson scientist and a Johnson & Johnson business lead who both said, don't get the J&J vaccine, but you didn't hear it from me, and also said that children should not be receiving any COVID vaccines because they're children, it won't really have any positive effects on them, and we don't know the long-term repercussions. I might have just been effing myself by stating that right now, according to YouTube, but that was, I am not spreading misinformation, YouTube. I am simply stating what was in the Project Veritas video. So, in response to the first video that Project Veritas released, Paul Gosar, a Republican from Arizona, wrote a letter to the Department of Health and Human Services calling for a full review of all HHS healthcare systems nationally to ensure full compliance with vaccine injury reporting laws, including reporting all adverse effects occurring after the administration of the COVID vaccine. So, there we go. Oops. Did I? I pressed a button. Where did it go? Something. Oh, okay. Oh, does that mean that that's the one that I'm on? Oh, I was like, why did the icon change? I think it changed because that's the one that I'm on. All right, I saw that some super chats came in because I got the little ding. So let's see. John Davis says, good quality, no lag, crisp sound, all good. Jesse Meek says, come now, you crazy cute lady, you are too... I see what you did there. Come now, you crazy cute lady, you are too competent to not realize what a capricious crew you had compiled here. We will caterwaul the seas until the cows come cantering home. Sorry, couldn't help it. Oh, you guys are funny. Oh, Godkey says they also flagged Steven Crowder for quoting the CDC. That's cute. Yeah, C-word. Gloxer for Kids says, but does infertility cause the coof? Ooh, good question. I mean, I think we're gonna have to start talking in code again, I guess, when we're discussing, COVID vaccine stuff. We're gonna have to come up with another name for it. You know, in this Crunchy Mom group that I'm in, they call it cupcakes, so maybe we'll have to talk about cupcakes now. But, someone mentioned red pills, so yes, we'll talk about this while we're at it. So Merck says that COVID-19 pill cuts risk of death and hospitalization, and it is red pills. Look at that, that's pretty funny. I didn't even really put that together, and then someone else did. That was a really good catch. So, and remember, Pfizer said a couple months ago that they were working on a pill, a daily pill, I believe it was, for COVID, and now Merck is apparently doing that as well. According to the AP, Merck, in a potential leap forward in the global fight against the pandemic, has announced that it has an experimental pill for people sick with COVID that reduced hospitalizations and deaths by half. Now this is actually really interesting because the Pfizer pill, I believe, is supposed to help prevent it, but it's not meant, I believe, as a treatment. Apparently, the Merck pill is meant as a treatment, which is really interesting. And I just realized, look at this. My face cam is in the way. That's really unfortunate. Maybe I'll have to like move it over to this side or something, the other side. Oh, you don't see my mouse. Or do you? That's right, there's the lag. Yeah, you do see my mouse. Okay. Sorry, guys. Like I said, I almost named this the Liberty Dollhouse Beta version 2, and then decided against it. So if it's cleared by regulators, it would be the first pill shown to treat COVID, adding a whole new, easy-to-use weapon to an arsenal that already includes the vaccine. Now, I wonder if this pill would get more scrutiny than the vaccine did. And I wonder if we'll be allowed to talk about potential repercussions and side effects, unlike with the vaccines. That'll be really interesting to see, actually, and see any potentially long-term side effects. The company said it will soon ask health officials in the US and around the world to authorize the pill's use. Another question will be how quickly this gets pushed through. Does it go through the typical testing rigmarole, or will it just be full steam ahead because it's a COVID treatment? Someone is suggesting we call the vaccines stinky tofu. All other COVID treatments right now that are authorized require IV or injection. This would be a pill taken at home. Interesting. They're saying it would allow us to treat many more people much more quickly, and we trust much less expensively, says this infectious disease expert from Vanderbilt. So in early testing results, it showed patients who received the drug within 5 days of COVID-19 symptoms had about half the rate of hospitalization and death as those who received a dummy pill. That actually brings up some really interesting ethical questions, because one of the problems with these sorts of experiments is if to do a true experiment and have like a double-blind study, you have to have a control group that is not receiving the treatment, which I suppose if people agreed to would be just fine, but then otherwise you are taking a bunch of people with a disease and treating half of them and not treating the other. So I'm wondering if they had to do the control group via survey or something. Well, let's see. It says the study tracked 775 adults with mild to moderate COVID who were considered high risk for severe disease because of health problems such as obesity, diabetes, or heart disease. Oh, this is fun. The results have not been reviewed by outside experts, the usual procedure for vetting new medical research. So among patients taking this new pill, 7.3% were either hospitalized or died at the end of 30 days. That is still scary. Like that was in a study. Ugh. Compared with 14% of those getting the dummy pill. So that actually means, though, what that says to me is people with mild to moderate COVID who were considered high risk for severe disease because of pre-existing conditions, including obesity, and we know most of the deaths were in folks that were obese and had other pre-existing conditions. Even among these folks, only 14% were hospitalized or died. I mean, that's actually pretty low, all things considered. Let me make sure that's not anything important. So that's actually really interesting. The results were so strong that an independent group of medical experts monitoring the trial recommended stopping it early. Wow. Okay, and they're going to submit it to the FDA in the upcoming days. That's really interesting. So they were already doing human trials, but even that is like way faster than it normally would be. And of course, they're saying, oh, it's not a replacement for the vaccine. Patients take 4 pills of molnupiravir twice a day for 5 days. Side effects were reported by both groups in the Merck trial, but were slightly more common among those who received a dummy pill. That's really interesting. And the company did not specify the problems. I find that to be a little worrisome, quite frankly. Earlier study results showed the drug did not benefit patients who were already hospitalized with severe disease. And in those people, they usually use antiviral. And remdesivir is the one antiviral drug that's been approved for emergency use. So that's interesting. Oh, whoa! This story has been updated to correct that patients take 8 pills per day, not 2. 8 pills per day. That is so many pills. That is a lot of pills. Oh my god. That's a little frightening. Ugh. And that really makes you wonder what's in it. Let's see. I know that I got some super chats in. This is great too. I like the little ding of the super chats because then I know for sure if I'm not looking at this screen, I know for sure that I got some. So let's see. Super chats. Let me scroll all the way up and make sure I got them all here. It's nice to be able to see all the little who the mods are and everything. RTK615 says, any bad news in Tennessee? Oh, there was something. There was some kind of news in Tennessee recently, wasn't there? Oh, what was it? I don't remember what it was. I knew that there was some. There was a mass incident, I believe, at a grocery store. Was that in Tennessee? Otherwise, I'm not sure. Robin would be the person to ask about Tennessee. Michael J says, how about the salad? We're gonna call it the salad. See, I also like salad. So, John Thomas says that the tip worked. Okay. Oh, yeah, and oh, this is great. Oh, this is great because it's popping right up before you guys are getting it, I think. I'm not sure. Well, we got a few different. All right, I'm gonna have to make sure that I get it. Okay. I've missed some of these, I think. Yes, Anonymous tipped 556 and said, did this work? If so, then I've figured out technology. Yeah, I think I had missed some of these, so I apologize for that. Andy tipped $20, says money's to test out the tip jar. Here's to new technology. Thank you, sir. Forgot that I have to check this new window now because I get multiple little things coming in. John Thomas says, Daisy Cousins dropped a video about DeSantis ragging the Australian government. Oh, it's not showing me the whole. Not showing me the whole thing. Let me make the text smaller for a minute. Oh, I see. And he did 452 because it's half the bullet diameter of a 45 ACP. Ah, I could have done a 45 option though. That feels presumptuous to me to put that in there. And I'm limited to 5, so. Omega says, I can't stand cantankerous, useless, non-thinking simpletons. John Thomas says, now we know why the legacy media has been trashing treatments. That is a really good point, actually, because this was on the horizon. David Neal says, don't use the name Dollhouse. It was a short-lived television sci-fi series. I mean, so the Dollhouse is, I use Dollhouse sometimes because, I don't know, Dollhouse, it just sort of flows. But also, way back when I first set up my channel, I didn't understand, um, it used to be that the way you set up a channel on YouTube was like really convoluted and strange. And the first time I did it, I accidentally named it and the URL Liberty Doll's House. And I had to jump through a whole bunch. I had to keep it for a long time actually because way back when they didn't allow you to change it. And so I was able to change like the name, but not the URL. And once they finally allowed you to change it, I had to like jump through a lot of hoops to change it. And so, I don't know. I mean, maybe because I end up like cussing with you guys on Friday nights, maybe I'll change it to Liberty Doll Uncensored or something like that. Plus, because on live stream, there are things that you can talk about that you can't talk about on an uploaded video because I 9 times out of 10 do not go back and monetize the live streams, so that I don't even have to worry about necessarily what I talked about or if I swore or anything like that. So I mean, maybe that will be a future change. Wouldn't that be funny if it was suddenly uncensored after I become a mom? John Thomas says, Daily Pill, gee, sounds like the head of the health department in Ultraviolet when the current... Oh... I don't like that it won't let me read the whole thing. Let's see, can I like make... Oh, I can make this window bigger. Now I can read it all. Daily Pill sounds like the head of health department in Ultraviolet when the current disease was eliminated. He was breeding a new one requiring a daily pill. I mean, would not put anything past our government at this point. Q tipped 223 says 8 pills a day keeps the doctor away. Yes, John Thomas says that there was a shooting at a Kroger, not sure if it was over masks. Yes, and I believe there was something like 4 people injured and 1 died, and I think the person that died was the shooter themselves. I don't think there was anyone else. Think that that's all that it was, but I could be wrong. Torque1 says the pill is hydrochloroquine, ivermectin, and NAC mixed together at triple the price. That would not surprise me either, quite frankly. RTK615 says there was a shooting in Memphis. Oh, duh! Smith & Wesson moving here, but I know you dig in deets. Yes, actually... One of the other things that I have for you guys is, we'll do the ammo land, because like I feel like a lot of times they're more detailed. Oh, that's right, I have this button. So this is news that just came out yesterday, actually. This surprises me 0%. 0. This is something that I'm pretty sure was coming, a long time coming, because Massachusetts, especially over the last 2 years, I'll say, has purposefully been passing certain laws and writing things into budget bills and, you know, pork barrel bills and all of that to get gun manufacturers out of Massachusetts, which is really stupid because their economy is suffering anyways and has been for quite some time. But COVID really did a number on the economy in Massachusetts. I mean... shit's pretty real up there, not gonna lie. But like some of the things that they were doing was one of the things, I don't remember if it passed or if they were trying to pass it, but there was at least at one point something that was introduced that a company with a Massachusetts factory, headquarters, home base, whatever you want to call it, any gun manufacturer based in Massachusetts was not allowed to manufacture firearms that were banned in Massachusetts or otherwise not allowed to be sold in Massachusetts. And so Massachusetts, of course, has bans on assault weapons. It has bans on copycat assault weapons. You remember back in, I think it was 2016, Maura Healey did that. She penned a letter overnight in this little executive order to ban copycat assault weapons. But even beyond that, the way that Massachusetts does things is that there's a special list of what you are allowed to have and not have in the state of Massachusetts. There's a list of what you're allowed to carry and not carry, buy and not buy. There's also special firearms in Massachusetts that are for law enforcement only. And it wasn't completely clear whether those were included in that bill to make it so that these companies couldn't manufacture that. I mean, honestly, a lot of the firearms that were being manufactured in Massachusetts prior to, I think Smith & Wesson is the last one. I think everyone else has moved at this point. There might be one left in Westfield. I want to say it's like Stag or something like that. It's a much smaller company. There might be someone left in Westfield. But that's it. Because I remember we had that the lawsuit that that Mexico filed in federal court, but specifically in Massachusetts. They said, oh, well, it's because all of these gun manufacturers are headquartered here when they're not. The only one that was Smith & Wesson. BRB, guys! Haha, I was like, I'll never need a be right back button, and so I never made a be right back screen or a be right back button. Guess I just needed a be right back screen. Thanks, Darrow. Thanks, Pupper. So he's a lab border collie mix for folks asking if he's a hound. He loves our friend that's visiting, but if our friend goes near the stairs, he flips out. So apparently he came near the stairs. So I am glad that you guys are amused by this. I was talking about Smith & Wesson, the lawsuit. Anyways, yeah, a lot of the firearms that companies were manufacturing and based in Massachusetts weren't allowed in Massachusetts anyways. So unsurprising to me now that Smith & Wesson is now moving out of Massachusetts to Tennessee. So thank you, folks, for the reminder on that, because I was going to talk about this anyways. All right, so this is from the NSSF. The Firearm Industry Trade Association noted that the announcement from Smith & Wesson of their plan to move their headquarters and a large portion of their operations to Tennessee is just the latest of a series of firearm and ammo manufacturers moving to states with strong Second Amendment traditions. Smith & Wesson announced their plans to relocate headquarters and assembly operations from Springfield, Mass. To Maryville, Tennessee. And I believe, there's a list that we'll be able to go through in a moment. So according to NSSF, this follows a pattern of firearm and ammo manufacturers that are migrating to states that respect the contributions of the firearm industry and respect the Second Amendment rights of those who purchase their products, said Lawrence G. Keene of the NSSF. He's the VP and General Counsel. The decision to expand production by any firearm manufacturer is indicative of the strong and vibrant market of lawful gun ownership. As an aside, I suppose there were some recent stats that came out from the FBI that said that legal gun owners shot more criminals than the police stopped in 2020, which is an amazing argument for gun ownership. I don't even know how the FBI would have calculated that, and I'm really surprised that they released it. But that is something that I'm going to be looking into, and maybe it'll even be a video. I should write that down. He said the decision to expand production by any firearm manufacturer is indicative of the strong and vibrant market of lawful gun ownership. Firearm sales have been at record levels for more than 18 months, and this investment in the future shows that the leading firearm manufacturers see a market with continued room for growth. Tennessee is already home now to Troy Manufacturing, which had moved from West Springfield, Mass. To Clarksville. Beretta recently moved from Maryland also to Tennessee in 2016, and Barrett is also headquartered in Tennessee. Smith & Wesson will add 750 jobs to the state and invest over $125 million to build a new state-of-the-art facility. The firearm industry already employs nearly 7,800 people in Tennessee. That is a lot in just one state. Through direct and indirect jobs, and contributes to over $1 billion in economic impact. That is quite a bit. The firearm industry pays $130.5 million in federal and state taxes annually. Oh my God. Massachusetts is just killing the economy and losing out on all of this tax money. And the taxes in Massachusetts are quite high, let me tell you. What a dumb decision. They are just, pardon the pun here, Massachusetts is shooting itself in the foot with these stupid, ridiculous laws. Yes? Oh, Zach is in the chat! Yes, Zach, I am using OBS, and it is awesome. Thank you, sir, from downstairs. Yeah, so let's see. We have, this is great. So now we have a list. These are all the places that firearm companies have moved to in the last few years. So Remington moved from New York to Huntsville, Alabama. Kimber also moved from New York over to Troy, Alabama, or Troy, Tennessee, I'm guessing, and then later moved to Alabama. Iowa now houses, I don't know how to pronounce this company, Leber, that used to be in Illinois. Lewis Machine and Tool Company also left Illinois to go to Iowa in 2019. Mississippi has Winchester from Illinois. North Carolina has acquired Ruger. Pennsylvania, I'm kind of surprised that anyone is in Pennsylvania, but they have Carr when they fled New York because of the SAFE Act. South Carolina does not mention Palmetto State on here, probably because they originated in South Carolina. Remember, an affiliate of this channel. They have American Tactical Imports and PTR Industries that also both came from New England. Tennessee, we mentioned before. Texas has Mossberg, which was originally in Connecticut. It's amazing how many of these companies actually used to be in New England. I never realized how many of them started up there. I mean, I suppose that the seat of the revolution, but it shows a lot about how much the climate in these areas has changed in New England and like Illinois and places like that. And Wyoming has Stag, has High Vis, has Weatherby, has Magpul. That's quite a bit. So good for Smith & Wesson, and honestly, so it says that they're moving 750 jobs from Massachusetts over to Tennessee. I actually would not at all be surprised if the move even allows them to expand in some way, and then they add even more jobs to their roster. Oh, Tennessee Beowulf says that the lay bear is actually less bear. Oh, okay. Thank you. I mean, I've never heard that of that company, so Actually, when I moved out of Massachusetts, I discovered there were a lot of companies that I had never heard of. Let's see. Up, up, up. So RTK 615 said there was a shooting in Memphis. Oh, that was yep, that was the first one. And then he said, "Hot gingers for freedom. We need our own website." And then Zach with the chat about using OBS. John Thomas says the quotes by the local politicians being shocked is just LOL. I feel like every quote from every local politician is always an LOL. Gloxo for Kids says, I worked at Barrett for a while. At the time, California decided not to sell to non-LEOs, so Ronnie decided not to sell to California LEOs. That is amazing. See, that I love when companies do stuff like that. I think that it is just fabulous. John Thomas says the New England area had water-powered factories before steam became a thing. Oh, so that's actually a really good point as well. That would be a big contributor. Let's see, what else do we have to chat about today? Oh, here's something interesting that I didn't expect and is a little disappointing. And I'm interested to see how it will affect other legal challenges to other things that are going on. And it's not looking good for if people try to challenge Biden's vaccine mandates at the Supreme Court level. If they challenge it and then it goes all the way up to the Supreme Court, this does not make the chances of a good decision on that looking, does not look good. So, one of the Supreme Court justices is allowing New York City schools vaccine mandate to stay in place. So this is from Axios, so it just gives you the bullet points of the story. But basically, Bill de Blasio had announced in August that all 148,000 staff members of the largest U.S. school district would need to submit proof of at least one dose of a COVID vaccine or risk unpaid leave until September of 2022, which is actually pretty insane because that's not even allowing folks to get vaccinated later. It's just flat out, oh, you didn't do it by the start of the school year, you are effed until next year. And so, of course, the deadline was originally pushed to October 1st after a lower court temporarily blocked it. But that court case ended up going all the way up to the Supreme Court, and pretty quickly, mind you. Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor on Friday blocked a challenge to New York City's vaccine requirement for public school teachers and employees, allowing the mandate to remain in place, and she rejected the emergency request without providing any explanation whatsoever, and she did not refer the case to the full 9-member court for review. So with the order now lifted, a group of 4 teachers and teaching assistants petitioned the Supreme Court to bar enforcement of the mandate while litigation is ongoing in lower courts, and the Supreme Court, Sotomayor at the Supreme Court just basically said F you. And that was it. And what I had not realized, which is a little frightening, is it mirrors a similar decision made by Amy Coney Barrett in August when she rejected requests to block Indiana University's vaccine mandate. So that is a little troubling because you have to wonder if the decision made or lack thereof on this case is also going to apply to when folks are trying to combat Joe Biden's vaccine mandate on private companies through OSHA. That might not get all the way up because folks might fight the OSHA rule. I mean, I know that the local sheriff's department released a statement that it would have to, OSHA has to create the rule, and then it has to go through a comment period, and it has all these hoops that theoretically they're supposed to jump through. So, I mean, it's entirely possible that the comment period, like, blows up, because we already see we have all of these healthcare workers resigning or getting fired because they're refusing to be vaccinated. We have the video that I just put up yesterday about cops. Cops are resigning and threatening to resign en masse over vaccine mandates, and we're seeing similar things in other sectors of the economy. So, I mean, it's possible that the OSHA rule will never really get put in place, but if it does, and people try to fight it, if we have people over here not even allowing it to get up to the Supreme Court and it being rejected outright with no explanation, that doesn't look good for the future of civil liberties here. Fred Hill says she's a waste of human flesh. It is a little scary there. I think that we had I think I heard some dings for some more super chats here. Let's see. We got that one. All right, those must have been from the last thing. Let's see, what else do we have? Oh, this I definitely wanted to talk about real quick because I thought that it was pretty important and pertinent. So you folks might remember, because it wasn't really all that long ago, I did that video, no vaccine, no fly list, right? Where there was a representative, I believe it was, from New York that had introduced a bill into Congress that would require vaccine passports and vaccination for all domestic and international travel in and out of the US. So if you were even going through like a port of entry and like had a layover in the US, it would require not only a vaccine passport, but also would require that to be enforced by the Department of Homeland Security specifically. And then we had the ex-Obama DHS official that was talking about the importance of having unvaccinated people on a no-fly list to expedite that database process, essentially. So now we have Dianne Feinstein has introduced her own bill that would require something similar. The only difference with her bill is that it wouldn't go through the Department of Homeland Security, but still has similar requirements. So let's see. Hopefully this is big enough for you guys to read. There's a delay, so we'll zoom in a little bit here just in case. Maybe a little bit more. So, travelers could be looking at new COVID restrictions as we embark on the holiday season. It's one of several COVID-related updates for the airline industry. They're acting as if it's already passed. The last bill, too, the goal would be to enact it sometime in October so that it would go into the requirements would be before the holiday season, essentially. And it looks like Feinstein is thinking similarly. Says she put on Twitter recently, we can't allow upcoming holiday air travel to contribute to another surge in COVID cases. Today I introduced legislation requiring passengers on domestic flights to be vaccinated, test negative, or be fully recovered from a previous COVID illness. So this would require you to have a doctor's note proving that you are in the clear and free and negative of symptoms, which I can understand to a degree. There is some concern by some critics that then, well, okay, is this going to then become something where, like, even if you have a cough, you're not going to be allowed on a plane? We don't know. This is just preliminary stuff. But so here's the actual press release here from Feinstein. So it's the U.S. Air Travel Public Safety Act, and it would require all passengers, again, on domestic airline flights to either be fully vaccinated, have recently tested negative for COVID, or have fully recovered from COVID. The bill would require the Secretary of Health and Human Services, in consultation with the FFA, to develop national vaccination standards and procedures related to the COVID-19 illness and domestic air travel in order to prevent future outbreaks of the disease. So, y'all know how I feel about government, but at least this this is the lesser of two evils. If we have to have one of those bills go through, this is the lesser of two evils, as much as I hate to say that about anything that Dianne Feinstein is doing. But at least this one is going through HHS and the FFA rather than the Department of Homeland Security, because it's a proven fact at this point that if you get put on the no-fly list, even if it's by accident, you're never getting off. It is notoriously difficult to get off of, and people get put on it accidentally all the time. It's actually a pretty frequent occurrence. The bill would also require the CDC's Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices to make recommendations for COVID vaccine use in healthcare settings among healthcare personnel in other settings. Kind of weird that a bill about domestic flights also has this weird thing about healthcare personnel stuck in there, but Congress does stuff like that all of the time. The legislation builds on a current CDC requirement that all air passengers traveling to the U.S. from a foreign country must provide proof of a negative COVID test result or documentation of recovery. Last week, the Biden administration announced it will work with airlines to implement additional protocols to prevent the spread of COVID-19 on international flights. The other issue here with this is a slippery slope. Remember, a few months ago, we had an article that said that Biden was considering, according to a White House official, that Biden was considering requiring vaccination for interstate travel, and it was not limited to air travel. It was, trains, planes, buses, all of that. This is the first step in that direction. And we could go the route and say, well, gee, maybe they would even require it if you're just driving across borders into states. And you could say, well, that sounds pretty extreme. We don't have the manpower for that. And it sounds like a conspiracy theory. It really does. But at the same time, remember, and I really hate that I've had to harken back to this a few times in the last 2 weeks, especially with the crazy National Guard thing going on in New York, where they're talking about calling in the National Guard to replace unvaccinated healthcare workers. And they're driving school buses in Massachusetts and all of this. But remember, the National Guard sitting at the Rhode Island borders and stopping cars and turning people around and asking to see their papers was a real thing that happened. It was reported in the news. There's photographic and video evidence of it. I had a friend that lived right near the border that was watching it happen. I had clients, I had friends that were stopped at the border, and they were only allowed to go in if they were traveling, across the border for work. People that were trying to move into Rhode Island were stopped and turned around. College kids were stopped and turned around. It was crazy stuff that was going on. So something Biden saying, well, okay, that's going to happen now at all bus stations and train stations and stuff throughout the states, or even at, toll booths or something like that. And that's really not that far outside the realm of possibility, seeing as this is stuff that has already happened in one state. It could be that other states enact that. And if they do, states' rights, there's an argument there for state rights versus, freedom of movement and freedom of travel, of course. But at least if a state did it, it's really different than it happening on the federal level, right? So Feinstein said that ensuring that air travelers protect themselves and their destination communities from this disease is critical to prevent the next surge, particularly if we confront new, more virulent variants of COVID. The bill complements similar travel requirements already in place for all air passengers, including Americans who fly to the U.S. from foreign countries. This includes flights from foreign countries with lower COVID rates than many U.S. states. It only makes sense that we also ensure millions of airline passengers that crisscross our country aren't contributing to further transmission, especially as young children remain ineligible to be vaccinated. The bill is, of course, supported by the Infectious Diseases Society of America and the American Public Health Association. And then it talks about how vaccine is a critical strategy and some background information of like polls. The Kaiser Family Foundation apparently polled some folks and saw that 3 in 10 people surveyed who were waiting to be vaccinated said they would be more likely to get vaccinated if airlines required passengers to be vaccinated. Another good point that I saw someone made online was, remember that whole New Deal thing? That seems like that was forever ago, right? But remember the Green New Deal and how Biden was on board with it and then not on board with it and then back on board with it. Remember how one of the goals in the Green New Deal was to stop air travel, basically? Remember how we read and looked through that study? This is also a video that I did that said, Americans would have to cut back all of their energy usage by 90% to stop catastrophic climate change. And that would include only one short to medium flight every 3 years. I mean, this kind of lines up with that, doesn't it? I don't know if that's, it could be a coincidence. It could be on purpose. Who really knows? A lot of this stuff. Remember last year when vaccine passports and proof of vaccination? This was like, what? So we're in September. So even just 6, 9 months ago, last year, all of that was a conspiracy theory. And now we're seeing it in New York. We're seeing it in all kinds of other places. We're seeing it on the federal level with Biden for all federal employees and contractors. We're seeing him try to implement it through OSHA on private companies. In the new $3.5 trillion spending bill, there's a provision in there that one of the places they're going to get their money from is from fining private companies that don't fire unvaccinated employees and are not requiring vaccination of their employees. That's one of the proposed places to get funding for this stupid budget deal. I mean, we have all of these states that are having requirements. We see them making those requirements now for any facility that accepts Medicare and Medicaid, regardless of legitimate religious or medical exemptions. So what? If you are someone who works in the medical field and you're immunocompromised, or you have like a blood clotting disorder, or heaven forbid you have an allergy that prevents you from getting the COVID vaccine, you're SOL and just not allowed to work in healthcare anymore, that's pretty fucked up. Remember though, all of this stuff last year was a conspiracy theory. It's never going to happen. They said, Glocks are for kids says it's day 565 of 14 days to flatten the curve. So to say as wild as it is to speculate on some of this stuff, there is nothing outside the realm of possibility anymore. It's absolutely insane. I'm gonna go through and check some more because I heard another couple super chats came in. Blue Ridge Ocean says, do I have any promo codes for PSA? Unfortunately, I don't. It's just the affiliate link. No promo codes for that, sadly. It would be pretty cool if I did. I don't think that they know me that much, that well enough yet. Some of the folks there do, because I've communicated with them, but I don't think the company as a whole uh, knows enough about me yet. Um, oh man, there's some people being spicy and getting themselves in trouble. Hate raids will not be tolerated. Let's see. Steve Violence says you'll need a COVID test for a gun background check. Hopefully not. My God, that would be pretty extreme. But you know what? Honestly, that would not surprise me at all in certain states. David Neal says, so add a toll booth before you pay to take the turnpike. They take your temperature, and if above normal, they divert you to a separate for further testing. Oh, that is scary. That's a possibility. That would be frightening. That would be frightening. But again, I mean, it's not really that far off from things that they were doing last year or are implementing now. So it is entirely possible. I see someone's like, how dare you? Oh, Greta Thunberg. Q says, I asked PSA to make a special LD item. I didn't hear back. Aw. Well, I mean, I know some folks over at PSA. I tried to combine PDGA and PSA for some reason, like the Pro Disc Golf Association and PSA. I don't know. Mom brain. I do know some folks over at PSA, but you know, it's like tech departments, IT, managerial stuff like that. No one that high up. Joshua Queen says that My Patriot Supply has gotten a lot more expensive too. I mean, unfortunately they have, but they've also added I mean, this is not recent, but originally you could only get like a 2-week or a 4-week food kit. Now there are options for like a 4-week, I think, and a 3-month. So that's pretty good. I mean, and unfortunately, the prices of everything are skyrocketing. The Fed and some of the people involved in that are finally admitting, like, oh, it looks like inflation is here to stay. Right, because unless you change something with your monetary policy and the way that you are working with interest rates, like, inflation isn't going to go away. And they're all like, oh, well, we need to, keep raising the debt ceiling and pumping up the money supply and keeping these low interest rates so we don't have a recession. Unfortunately, a recession is the only way that any of this will even come close to balancing back out. It'll never be back to where it was, especially with all of the federal unemployment programs and all of that stuff that went on with the lockdowns and all of that. It will never get back to where it was 2019, 2018, any of that, but it would at least be not as bad as it is now. But a recession is the only, like, no matter what, whatever they try to do to fix it, it's going to cause a recession. But the alternative is to let it keep running away, and then we have a depression rather than a recession, which is way, way worse. I've talked about this on the stream before, that historically when prices get to a point where most people, their budget, 30 to 40% of their monthly budget goes towards food, we see revolution, we see civil war, we see fighting in the streets. Historically, that has happened in every country where food prices and inflation hit that level. We're already reaching some of those levels. Anyone on like the lower ends of the income scale are already at that point. And as prices go up, that's going to creep higher and higher. And we're going to see more and more people fall into that bracket. Getting ugly. We still have all of those ships off the coast of California and in various other ports they're revealing now across the country that are just like sitting there, hanging out, creating even more shortages because we don't have the people to unload them and we don't have the truckers to deliver the goods. Everything is a effing mess. Quite frankly, it's scary. It's disappointing. I mean, but the only people that can stop it is the government and the Federal Reserve. They're not going to do that because then that would require some admittance of guilt, right? That would require, I mean, they'll try to go and just blame it on Trump, but it would also require some admittance that, like, oh man, maybe this monetary policy wasn't great. Oh, I guess we can't do this forever after all. And on top of it, most people are unfortunately economically illiterate. And so, say that the Fed bumps up interest rates even by like 1 percentage point. Typically, that corresponds to a 10% downturn in the stock market. I mean, it's temporary, and it's kind of like things evening back out. So it's changes in dollar value and all of that. That's better than a huge crash in Great Depression, but still, even that little like 10% drop that would come because of a percentage point change in interest rates, people are going to flip out and they're going to blame the government for that, and like rightly so, because they put us in this situation. But most people are economically illiterate and don't realize the alternative. So the government has put itself in a bind, and we've talked about this on the channel and all the economic terms for this. And what is it? Is it like a? Oh, I don't remember the term for it. Gardner would know it if he's still here. But it's basically when you're in like a false bubble before an impending crack-up boom. That's what it is. We're in a crack-up boom. Most people don't know that. Even people that know economics don't know that unless they're like studying that specific kind of material. I mean, this was something that I learned newly like over the last year. Most people don't realize that the alternative is a depression. And so the government has put itself in a bind where either way something bad is going to happen. And what they're doing really is determined by like, okay, how long can we prolong this? And we maybe prolong it until the next administration gets in and then they get the blame. Really, it's just damage control at this point, what they're doing. They're trying to make it look as nice, tied up in a little PR bow as possible. And there's a lot of people that see through that, but there is more people, unfortunately, that do not. Bruce, the boss resurrected, said, sorry I'm late. In Georgia and time zone threw me off. Made a stop in South Carolina and recommend The Cookout, a Carolina hidden gem. Thank you for the recommendation. There's actually several of them around here. I've never stopped in there because I don't know what kind of restaurant it is, but I'll look into it now. Joe Marisol says, don't come to Idaho. Mask mandates are being enforced. 2 people have already been arrested. Oof. Yeah, not the only place where things are being enforced. Q says, will Dogecoin protect me? Maybe. And Gardner says, yep, you beat me to it. The crack-up boom. Well, thank you for confirming that I had the right term, Gardner. Oh, goodness. So it is 8:36. So we've been just over an hour and a half. So we're going to get ready to wrap up here. Thanks for everyone, all 315 of you that are here right now, and all of the 300 of people that were coming in and out, even though this was a really very experimental on the OBS, and we already learned some little glitches and some things that we're going to have to meddle with a little bit, and some things that we're going to have to change on the overlays and things like that. And of course, over the next week, I'm going to work on setting up Restream and all of that so that I can also stream to Facebook. We've got the new tip jar set up that goes outside the nasty YouTube algorithms there and all that, and outside of the YouTube percentage taking. I mean, they take literally as much as the federal government if you're self-employed, which is pretty funny. 30%. YouTube takes 30%. And even though, the first like half hour was all of the announcements of upcoming changes and things like this, Leonidas says that the video keeps pausing. I mean, they're still saying that my bit rate is higher than the recommended thing, but also that my stream health is excellent. So I don't know what that is. I'm gonna have to ask Zach about that. And I mean, there's supposed to even be some sort of setting that it automatically picks the best YouTube settings. That was supposed to be something that we messed with, but apparently not. Oh, there's even a special tab just for super chats or member chats. Oh, that's interesting. So once I set up channel memberships, you guys will pop up specifically in this window too. Very, very cool. Okay. Man. Yes, David Neal says, was tonight's stream the beta version? It was, in fact, because, you know, this stuff has only been set up for 24 hours, and the OBS itself, we set up starting at like midnight last night, and then the rest of it was all tweaked earlier today. So we yeah, I'll be changing some of the overlays and fixing some of the stuff, and I love that I have all of this. I love that I get all the tips, and I have the chat where I can see the super chats, and I can see when you guys tag me. A lot of windows to have open and keep track of, but it is infinitely better. StreamYard was pretty good, but this is infinitely better. Q says, a COVID vaccination tracker thing popped up on my internal company page today. Wonder if I'll be working there soon. Ooh, I didn't get to it. Someone sent me via email today, I believe, a letter that their girlfriend got from, I believe it was the University of New Hampshire. And they're going to be firing people as well for their vaccination status. Crazy things are afoot. So everyone, thanks for putting up with all of this. Thank you for the folks, the patrons, the folks over on Subscribestar. Thanks for everyone for putting up with all of the little bumps and things here. Thanks for everyone who was in the chat. Well, everyone who was nice in the, well, I don't even care if you guys are nice. Anyone who wasn't purposefully saying things to get me off air, thank you to those people. Thank you to the mods that were watching that. It looks like I didn't see anything coming in from Nightbot on my end, so I don't know if that's something that I need to import specifically. I'll have to look at that. Thank you to everyone who donated super chats and the folks in the tip jar. I'm glad that you guys like that, and the ammo calibers. I was pretty proud of myself for that. I couldn't wait for you guys to see it. I almost sent it to people, patrons, and in the chat ahead of time, but then I was like, well, then people are just gonna think I'm like, be like, here, look at this, donate, when really I'm just like, look what I came up with, it's a good idea. All right. So yes, thanks everyone, and I will see you on the next stream. Not sure which button on which thing I click to end the stream, so this will probably be awkward for a minute. I think I hit stop streaming, and then I think I hit end stream over here. We'll see. Let's go. Not be able to reconnect, and it will no longer be live. Oh, so this is where a stream ending screen would be helpful. All right. Good night, guys. Bye.